All right. We're back. We're starting on this quest that we took called Where There's a Will. There's been a murder. Actually, we don't know if it's a murder. But we have a missing dog with a deed and a mysterious family member who showed up.
Huh? It seems Mizik has been fooled by a four-legged escape artist.
Oh, no.
Greetings, Trap. Careful now. A cunning and foul beast has made off with an important document and played Mizik for a fool. Perhaps you can help retrieve it?
Yes, I was asked to help you.
A wonderful idea from dear Aquilia. This one fears there is more afoot to Lady Weatherly's death. But our first clue is currently in the jowls of a dog. A hairy, stinky thing. Betu is the beast's name, though this one calls him Headache.
Well, you're investigating Lady Weatherly's death?
Oh, yes. Helping with the will is a cover. Not only was her death sudden and mysterious, but now her fortune is missing, and her long-lost son has returned. A great many threads for one's claws to get tangled in.
A missing fortune and a long-lost son.
Yes, yes. Aquilia wishes the question of inheritance be conclusively answered before it becomes fodder for the gossips. Now, dear Aid, we must find Betu. This one has already found his tracks. Let us crouch down and follow his trail.
So is this the one that caused all the mess?
More tracks. The dog definitely went this way.
Did he hate the wine? Why he knocked down all the wine?
I don't know what you're playing at, but you were a fool to come here.
There's Lady Pelena and her husband Uriel, our once long-lost son.
Be angry all you want, dear wife, but don't cause a scene. I'm here to stay.
Fine. Then you can help deal with your cousin and that inane investigator. Now, where could that mangy dog have gotten off to?
A thing for grapes, this dog. Trying to get the grapes. I don't know why. I mean, it's not like I'm hurting for grapes, but...
There's Betu. Quick, grab the wheel while he is occupied. Quickly, grab the wheel.
Not now, Betu. Away with you!
With the wheel secured, let us speak with Edric.
Betu's always been an incorrigible sort. Best not to let him walk all over you. Apologies. I should introduce myself. My name is Edric Bressner. I was Lady Weatherly's cook. Terrible thing, her death. Beyond compare.
Were you close to Lady Weatherly?
Yes, terribly so. I've been in her employ for what feels like ages, which is why I hope you'll listen when I say you must leave the estate. I fear what happened to our dear lady could happen to you.
What makes you say that?
Chefs are privy to more than just their employer's favorite dishes. Lady Weatherly hasn't been the same since her son's disappearance, and I'm not the only one to take notice. Fruit flies buzz around the sweetest fruit, after all.
You know what happened to Lady Weatherly?
I can't say any more. I only came to pay my respects and to leave this place behind. If I were you, I would stay far away from that manor before that investigator digs up something horrible.
We're here to help.
If you insist on staying, that's your business. Just watch your back.
How strange. It seems the cook knows more than he is willing to let on. How very curious. Mizik will have to make note of this. At least this confirms that the residents of the estate are keeping their secrets close to their chests.
Will you remind me of who is involved?
Yes, of course. Along with the cook, there's Otho Florius, the gardener. Then, of course, Lady Weatherly's missing son himself, Uriel, back from the dead. And his wife, Helena, who has long lived at the estate with Lady Weatherly.
Uriel returned after his mother's death?
Convenient, yes? Many questions surround Uriel's sudden return. And it should be noted that Helena seems none too pleased about it. Mizik has, of course, investigated a number of failed marriages, but this seems different. Ah, what of the will?
Here's the will, dog slobber and all.
Yeah, excellent. The seal is still intact. We should return to the manor now that we've secured the will. I am certain our roosting vultures are keen to hear what it has to say. Meet Mizik by the manor house when you are ready to meet the others.
I'll meet you by the manor when I'm ready. Okay, so there's that one. We got a whodunit situation happening. I love it.
Good find, cohort.
And we... Oh! That too? Hi! Are you our buddy? Looks like we're going in. Looks like Bet2 is our new friend.
I hope Betu's return means you retrieved the will, Mizik?
Yes, the will is returned and intact, thanks to my assistant.
Well, let's get this over with. Read it aloud, Mizik.
Yes, of course. Weatherly's walls hide a glittering secret, safely guarded by 4 loyal paws. Do not worry. Mizik and his assistant will get to the bottom of this.
I'm sorry. Is that a riddle?
This must be some sort of joke.
There he is, my faithful friend.
Oh!
Strange. Betu doesn't seem too fond of you, cousin.
Nonsense. I'm sure Betu just needs time to remember me. Isn't that right, boy?
Feel free to speak with the others, but join me in the study when you are ready.
The estate feels hollow now, without her. And apologies for my appearance. Needed some liquid courage to walk the halls of this corpse. I hope you find who did this. She did not deserve what happened to her.
Were you close to Lady Weatherly?
Closer than most staff are with their lords and ladies, I reckon. I'd worked for her since before young Uriel had even been born. Feels like a lifetime ago. More memories to drown, I suppose.
I'm Otho, the gardener. Betu must like you if he followed you back. He's a good judge of character, you know. Lady Weatherly loved him dearly. I worry about what will become of him when all is said and done.
What were you and Edric arguing about earlier?
Edric is making a bit of a fool of himself. It pains me to see him this way. I assure you, he's never acted like this before. Perhaps it'd be better if you asked him. He's had a rough go of it.
It seems I was right to ask for your help. Despite the mysterious contents of the will, this is the most progress we've made all day. I trust you and Mizik will see things through, and we can proceed with this unpleasant business.
Were you close to Lady Weatherly?
Fairly, though I wish I had made more of an effort to visit. I spent many summers here when I was younger, but school and then my position kept me away for far too long. She was kind, generous. Her loss outweighs any treasure we might find.
He seems sincere.
All this waiting, and for what? A riddle. It's absurd. The sooner you and Mizik solve this riddle, the sooner our family can move on from this nonsense. To think we haven't even had a chance to celebrate Uriel's return.
What were you and Uriel arguing about earlier?
How embarrassing. You overheard that. Tensions have been high since his mother's passing. There are certain adjustments we've both had to make. Nothing some restful sleep can't solve.
Okay.
I didn't realize Mizik had an assistant. A pleasure to meet you. I hope, despite the circumstances, you will find time to enjoy the estate grounds. It's beautiful this time of year. A small blessing while we grieve.
You must be happy to be back home.
Happy doesn't do the feeling justice. Ecstatic, overjoyed, yet still burdened by Mother's passing and the horrors of battle. But being surrounded by loved ones has been a major boon.
Has it now? New stores. Oh, that wasn't what I meant to do at all. Barons called to arms to the esteemed Weatherly family. Our so-called emperor, the blasphemer Leovec, has gone too far. His legalization of Daedra worship is an outrageous act of tyranny that no honorable Colovian should bow to. Duke Varian Aquilius of Chorrol beseeches all able-bodied fighters of the Colovian estates to join in his march against the emperor. Should you have fire in your heart and a loyalty in your blood, join our growing liberation forces in Bruma. Fight for Clovia, fight for honor, fight to restore glory to the Empire. You're so detailed. What the heck? What? The game very subtly locks you out of things it doesn't want you to look at quite yet. What were you into? The wine. Is the wine poisoned? Tavern.
Why would Lady Weatherly leave a riddle in her will? Perhaps you can make sense of it.
Okay, Will and Testament and Lady Weatherly. I, Lady Lucio Weatherly of Weatherly Estate, being of sound mind and body, do make the following determination for my remaining wealth and holdings upon the occurrence of my death. A trusted recipient will understand. Weatherly's walls hide a glittering secret, safely guarded by 4 loyal paws.
Could the 4 paws mean Betu? They certainly are not Mizik's. Perhaps we can find a clue here in her study.
I'm afraid I'm at my wit's end. I am certain that the cook has started following me about the grounds. It seems harmless at first, but our chance encounters have grown more numerous, and so have his questions about my late husband's disappearance. I do not know what's come over him, but I fear for my safety and yours. I believe it is time we let the cook go. I can begin the process of finding a replacement. Just say the word.
It seems Pelena made her feelings about the cook quite clear to Lady Weatherly.
I don't trust it. Lady Weatherly's journal. To my dear son, I spent many years and a great sum of gold trying to find you. Stubborn as ever, I've been unwilling to accept that you met your end on some distant battlefield. I kept my search for you a secret. I had thought to include Polina, but when I floated the idea, she became angry with me, accused me of chasing ghosts and wasting coin. Perhaps like me, she is frightened of the truth I've now come to terms with, that you died a pointless death and rest somewhere in an unmarked grave. I take some solace in the memorial Edric helped me build. You would like it. It's in a quiet spot where you used to catch torch bugs when you were young. Until we meet again.
It seems Lady Weatherly led her own investigation into her son's death. A note peeking out from behind the painting. Excellent eye for detail, friend.
Lady Weatherly, I know how hard it will be to believe a letter with no signature, but I fear for my life as much as I fear for you. To earn your trust, I offer you this. Ginseng and comberry tea brewed with candied rose petals. Only someone who cares for you dearly would know your favorite tea. I risk writing this letter because a traitor schemes behind your back. Pains me to say this, but the woman you cared for may have had a hand in murdering your son. We must meet as soon as possible. I fear we haven't much time.
Interesting. A hidden note guarded by a painted dog. What does it say? Let Mizik see the note. An anonymous letter warning Lady Weatherly of a traitor. This one wonders if they were able to meet before her death. It paints a disturbing picture of her final moments.
Why is it disturbing?
Mizik was told that Lady Weatherly died alone in her library. But could she have met with a stranger only to become their victim? We must question the family, but do not mention the note.
Why not?
Whether this note was sent by the killer or a kind soul close to Lady Weatherly, it confirms one thing, that there is indeed a traitor among us. And with this letter, Mizik can do what he does best. Play cat and mouse.
Mizik, I love you. Okay, I'll help question the family members.
If you are looking for the stranger who calls himself Uriel, he went to walk the estate grounds with Pelena, and not a moment too soon. I was growing tired of their bickering.
Actually, I was hoping to talk to you.
Of course, though I doubt I'd be of much help. I was tending to affairs in High Isle when I learned of my aunt's death. As her last living blood relative, I saw fit to see to her will, until my cousin's convenient reappearance, of course.
What do you know of Lady Weatherly's death?
Oh, as I understand it, she fell from her library's ladder while reaching for a book. If she had kept a modest staff on hand, perhaps she could have been saved. But by the time she was found, she had passed.
Who found her?
I believe it was one of the estate's remaining workers. Pelena would know more. She was here when it happened. Unlike Uriel. I know grief can cloud one's judgment, but is she not at all suspicious of Uriel's story.
Why are you so suspicious of Uriel?
I haven't seen Uriel since we were teens, before I was sent to boarding school. And then he left to fight in Varen's revolt 6 years ago. He might share a passing resemblance, even with his scar, but I don't believe he's really Uriel.
Do you have any proof he's lying?
Frustratingly, no. But my aunt spent countless coins searching for Uriel. Even if his story is true and he lost his memory, she would have found him. I fear Uriel was lost to us in the revolt. And this man is wearing our grief like a disguise.
What does Polina think?
That's the thing. Since his arrival, Pelina has been both overjoyed and furious. I suppose his return after so long could explain her mixed emotions. But I think she's hiding something. They share terse whispers constantly.
That's good to know.
If Aquilia was Lady Weatherly's last living heir, could she have expected to receive the missing fortune? A motive, perhaps.
I've restocked the cheese board, thank you.
Foolish of you to think that I would just disappear.
My love, the investigator returns. We'll continue our discussion later. Apologies. Recent events have been overwhelming, to say the least. I needed some fresh air, and my dear Uriel saw fit to join me. Is there anything I can help you with?
Were you present the day Lady Weatherly died?
No, I was not. Lady Weatherly was kind enough to let me live on the estate when Uriel went off to fight, but I often spend my mornings walking through the woods. A ritual that has helped ever since Uriel's death. Absence, I mean.
Who found her body?
Otho Florius, the gardener, was the one who found her. He was the only one home at the time. Ever since I fired that horrible cook, Otho's been the only remaining staff member tending to the estate.
You fired the cook?
Yes. I caught Edric snooping around my private quarters. Terrible thing, having one's privacy encroached upon. I told him to never return or I'd have Betu chase him out. I admit, I did enjoy striking fear into that sad little man.
I bet you listens to your commands?
Well enough. He's known me since my courtship years with Uriel. He causes his fair share of mischief, but Lady Weatherly could never bring herself to get rid of him. After all, Betu was her last connection to Uriel.
What sort of mischief?
The dog has a penchant for stealing what isn't his. I usually ask our gardener to wrangle him, but as you can see, he hasn't done a very good job. Of course, now that Lady Weatherly has passed, we can consider alternatives.
I don't like you.
Go on then, ask me how I returned. It's the only question anyone seems to have for me. Uriel Weatherly, back from the dead. It's laughable.
I am curious.
6 years ago, I left to fight in Varen's revolt. I was gravely wounded and left for dead, and would have died, had a caravan of Khajiit not stumbled upon me and taken pity. The Khajiit could heal my wounds, but not my memories. They were lost.
You lost your memories?
Every single one. I rode with the caravan until I was fully healed. It wasn't until we rode into Skingrad that the first slivers of my past began to return. By the time I remembered my name and where I lived, it was too late. Mother was dead.
Huh? So you remember everything?
Some things, yes. But there are still heavy clouds. For instance, It's clear Mother's riddle was meant for me, but I can't make sense of it. I can only hope your talented investigative skills solve this mystery.
Do you share Aquila's doubts about your mother's death?
I fear Aquilia has merely succumbed to her own grief, chasing phantasms with bloody daggers. My mother was a wonderful woman who died a simple death. It is sad, but common. You come to understand this when you've been to war.
Is there anyone who would want to hurt your mother?
From what I've been told, my mother lived her final years grieving in isolation. My dear wife Pelena did her best to keep her company, but my mother had no friends or visitors. Aside from the hired help, of course.
Could someone on staff have hurt your mother?
All this talk of suspects when the woman simply fell. Though I suppose Thunderboots would not be here if the death weren't suspicious. Speak with the staff yourself if you see fit.
Okay, I will do that.
The gardener found Lady Weatherly's body. We should speak to him next.
There you go, Betu. Baths aren't so bad. Apologies for Betu's earlier mischief. I hope he didn't damage the will. He's normally better behaved, but the lady's passing has certainly got him on edge.
Did you find Lady Weatherly's body?
Yes. I had taken over kitchen duties while Edric was away. I was restocking the pantry after returning from the market when I heard a loud crashing noise from the library.
What did you do?
I thought Betu might have knocked something over in the library, but when I went to check, the door was blocked by something heavy. By the time I wedged myself through, it was too late.
She was dead?
Yes. She was lying on the floor, motionless. One of the ladders had fallen and there were books scattered all around. I can take you to see the library. Everything is as I found it.
Did you see anyone else?
No. Lady Weatherly was the only one in the library. Which is odd, now that I think about it.
Why is that?
Betu is usually plastered to the lady's side, but he wasn't in the library. He was shut up in Pelena's room. I wonder why she would have put him there.
Is there anyone who would want to hurt Lady Weatherly?
Well, Pelena keeps going on about Edric, our cook. She says he was acting suspiciously leading up to her death. But for what it's worth, I find him to be kind. He may be able to shed more light on that situation himself.
You won't learn anything from those scheming charlatans, that's for sure. Lost memories, please. Children can weave better stories than that drivel. I'll say it again, stranger. You should leave this place. Nothing but rotten memories.
Were you present the day Lady Weatherly died?
No. Lady Pelena had all but run me out by then. Lady Weatherly couldn't bring herself to fire me, but I thought some time away would do us all some good. Worst decision of my life, I tell you that.
Why would Polina run you out?
It's my own fault, honestly. Something always felt off to me about Lady Pelena. She never seemed too torn up about Uriel's death. I was convinced she was hiding something, but turns out my chef's paunch doesn't make for being stealthy.
What happened?
She caught me going through her things. A terrible thing, I know, but I don't regret it. Some things deserve to be brought to light, you'll see.
Let us investigate the library.
Alright, to the library we go. Such a fun change of pace.
The library is to the left. Your other left.
Thank you. I did turn right.
We must study the scene carefully. Look for anything out of place. You are certain this is where you found her body?
Yes. I'll never forget the sight of her lying there.
Quite the mess for a simple fall, don't you think? Was that window already broken?
No, it was definitely intact before Lady Weatherly's death.
Something has broken the glass. Perhaps this was an escape route.
The Green Pack song. Deep in our roots and times long ago, Yennefer looked down on the wood elves below. A pact was made in the forest of greens, and Yennefer offered a life so serene. Protect the green, he said with a flourish, so all the flowers and trees we did nourish. And it will become your true home in turn. So farming and sowing and reaping were spurned. Here in the green all plants survive. Leaves and petals and new buds can thrive. We hunt for our food with arrows aimed true. And when we need rest, Yennefer makes it so. No chopping or carving or cutting of wood. The green grows our homes, sturdy and good. We have no need to take from the trees. The Green Pact will see to our needs. When in the forest, take care if you please. Yennefer has friends all through the trees. Wood elves like us have nothing to fear, thanks to the Green Pact we hold dear. I love how we're just stealing everything as...
Certainly a ladder couldn't have caused this much damage to the statue. Mizik has seen enough. No blood, a broken window, and a fractured statue with no explanation as to how it was damaged. Mizik feels that there is something just out of reach of this one's claws. But what could it be?
We must be missing something.
The details don't add up. Investigations always require some stretch of the imagination, but to make sense of this crime scene would be to dream up a work of fantasy.
There must be some explanation.
Perhaps the fantasy is the clue. Only a panicked hand could make such messy brushstrokes. Could Otho's arrival from the market have startled the suspect, leading them to block the door and escape out of the broken window?
Could Otho have staged the scene?
But then why create such an elaborate scene? A fall is simple enough, a tidy portrait. We should continue to investigate this broken window. Perhaps we can find a trail on the other side.
I would never hurt Lady Weatherly.
Until the investigation is complete, everyone is a suspect. The library exterior is just around the corner.
It would be this corner, wouldn't it? Yeah, it'd be...
Betu, what is he sniffing? Betu found a key, and look, it seems Betu wants us to follow him. Moons above. Is that Edric?
It was I, loyal cook Edric, who killed our dear Lady Weatherly. She planned to meet with sweet Polina Weatherly for tea, but I tainted her favorite blend, ginger hibiscus, with the foul poison in her favorite tea. Same poison I've taken as I write this letter, for I cannot bring myself to see an impostor play at our dear, late Ariel. A curse on that rogue. Despite doting on her every need, Lady Weatherly never saw me as more than a lowly servant. Now I join her in the great dark, cold beyond.
A confession? And a flowery one at that. Mizik isn't sure what to make of this. Tea. This one smells ginger, hibiscus, and something else. Something sickly. Edric's tankard. There seems to be a suspicious residue inside.
Memorial to Uriel Weatherly. Here lies the memory of a devoted son and an honorable warrior. While you never returned home, those who love you saw fit to raise a memorial in your name. The loss of such a bright light will always be a tragedy, but your memory lives on with us.
So this is the memorial Lady Weatherly built for her son. Mizik's snout wrinkles at the stench of both fresh and old death. Betu led us to the memorial of the lost Uriel Weatherly, and now we find the cook freshly poisoned. Let this one see the confession letter.
Here's the confession letter.
Why would Edric lead us to Uriel's memorial and then kill himself? And earlier, the cook warned us of some mysterious danger. Could he have met the fate he was trying to save us from? Too many bodies and cryptic messages for this one's liking.
What about the confession?
The note says that Edric served Lady Weatherly poisoned tea the day she died, but the cook had already left the grounds. Otho confirmed that himself. And this letter says that Pelena was present for tea, but she said she was out all morning.
So you think the note is a forgery?
A good question, but the memorial may be a greater clue. Lady Weatherly had gone to great lengths to find her son, but was certain of his death to raise this memorial. Our Uriel may well be an impostor, but do not give away our upper hand.
What do we know so far?
We know the real Uriel went to fight in Varen's revolt, and that Lady Weatherly spent a fortune to find his body. We also know from the note in the lady's study that Pelena was against looking into his death.
What of the imposter?
Yes, our masquerading rogue. The cook was certain that he was an imposter, but what about the others? Aquilia has her suspicions, but shouldn't Pelena have known? Why hasn't she raised alarm bells and told the others?
And now the cook is dead.
And he was the only one who could have ended the impostor's ruse. But then there is Edric's confession. Could it be a forgery to throw us off the trail, or a convenient end to our investigation? I sense another hasty painting is before us.
What's our next move?
We should question the impostor, but we mustn't let on that we know his gambit. I also have my reservations about the once and again widowed Pelena. If anyone else was aware of his ruse, it would be her. So why hasn't she said anything?
Let's go question the imposter.
Steady yourself as we approach the imposter, Uriel. This ruse may not be his only crime. It's increasingly likely that he killed Edric to keep his secret.
I mean, we are all figuring it's Polina, right? Polina's the backbone of it all.
The value of that! Ah!
There's a special event that's happening right now, so it's really quite funny that I chose to go here to finish out Gold Road. I didn't know the event was going to kick off. It kicked off today, but it's just a good time to be in Westworld.
Steady yourself.
When I came, when I made that decision, it was just because I wanted to finish the DLC. That's all.
What is with all the questions, cousin? Aren't you happy to see me?
There's our imposter. Talk to him.
Our intrepid investigators! Pelena and I were just arguing over what to do with my mother's estate. Marriage squabbles. Have you made progress with that mysterious riddle? I can fetch her if you'd like. She just went into the kitchen.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I wanted to know if you were close to the cook, Edric.
The cook, you say? Well, as close as any young heir is with their staff. Now that I think about it, I always did find him strange. Always one for the shadows. I'm glad Pelena saw fit to fire him. I only wish I were here to do it myself.
We found him dead by the estate fountain.
Dead? What a ghastly turn of events! Hold on. Another memory is coming back to me. Yes. The The cook always had a secret love for my mother. Was it grief that led him to kill himself? It must have been. You don't think he also killed Mother?
I didn't say he killed himself.
Oh, yes, of course. No, I must have gotten ahead of myself. Yes, that's it. All this death, I thought I left it behind on the battlefield, but it seems to have followed me home. Whether murderer or murderee, my heart goes out to Edric.
Thank you, Uriel. That's all. We should speak to Pelena next, traveler.
There's been another murder? The killer could come for any one of us next.
Nonsense. It's clear Edric was a troubled man who killed Lady Weatherly and took his own life.
Maybe so. But I'm not leaving this room just yet.
Don't drink any tea.
Oh, Mizik, do you have updates on your investigation? Mizik, traveler, how fares the investigation? With so much still left to speculation, I've found myself wandering the grounds, trying to keep my hands busy. I hope to have things settled soon, for all our sakes.
We actually found the cook dead in the garden with a note confessing to poisoning Lady Weatherly.
Edric? A murderer? I'm astonished. I guess I was right to be suspicious of him, but now I wish I'd had him jailed when I could have. What a travesty. At least now we have some closure, and can focus on the missing fortune.
Why does the confession say you were present for Lady Weatherly's death?
Well, the lady and I had intended to meet that morning, but it slipped my mind. If the tea was poisoned, wouldn't that make Otho the suspect? With Edric away, he would have been the one to brew the tea for Lady Weatherly.
Oh, are you accusing Otho of aiding with the murder?
I haven't the expertise, of course, to make such an accusation. But I do wonder. Otho and Edric have worked the estate for ages. Could they have felt entitled to a cut of the fortune? Useless speculation, perhaps, but the mind does wander.
Thank you, Pelena. We will investigate all lingering threads. Traveler, let's speak with the gardener next.
Okay. Doesn't look that healing. Another game that I was just playing is a Sea to Crouch, so I'm struggling. Everybody still alive? Everybody's still alive. Okay. Oh, looks like the gardener's still alive.
Betu seems to have run off again. It's embarrassing, really. You'd think I'd be better at keeping a handle on him, but the dog is a free spirit. How are things? Made any progress since investigating the library?
Actually, I'm wondering if you served Lady Weatherly tea the morning she died.
It had become one of my daily duties while Edric was away. I usually try to brew her a pot before I leave for the market. Apologies for not mentioning that earlier. My daily tasks have become innumerable.
Edric is dead. He left this note confessing to poisoning Lady Weatherly's tea.
Edric is dead? I can't believe it. No, he'd never hurt Lady Weatherly. We were like a family. Wait, the recipe for the lady's tea is wrong. She's always found ginger to be too overwhelming. Are you sure Edric wrote this?
Are you saying Edric didn't write this?
He couldn't have. He'd never make a mistake like that. And he was nowhere near the tea that morning. I started a pot for Lady Weatherly, and Pelina took over brewing it before I left.
Helena was here. She said she forgot about having tea that morning.
Strange. She was most definitely here. She even offered to finish brewing it. I've been so busy as of late that I accepted her offer. It's not every day Pelina lends a hand around the estate. Wait. Could Pelina have poisoned Lady Weatherly?
Where does Lady Weatherly take her tea?
She usually has it in her bedchambers, but the room's been locked this whole time. It seems in the commotion the key has been misplaced. It's likely her room has remained untouched since this whole tragedy began.
Music recalls a gilded key revealed to us by Betu.
If you already found the missing key, you may be able to unlock Lady Weatherly's bedchambers.
Lady Weatherly knew she was being poisoned, and in the struggle of being poisoned, she knocked over a statue and made a mess, and then threw the key out the window so someone else could find it. She knew who murdered her.
If the room has truly been locked this whole time, then not even the killer could re-enter. Let us see if we can find any clues among the mess.
Letter to Polina. Dearest Polina, you may not remember me, but I assure you, I've never forgotten your name or the sterling script of your letter to my band of mercenaries. How curious it was to see such delicate writing spell out such a gruesome request. I still remember the shock in your husband's eyes, the way he cried out for his mother while he pawed at the dagger in his back. The memory remained an idle amusement until talk of a wealthy elderly woman searching for her son spread through Cyrodiil. Then it struck me. Your late husband and I bore a striking resemblance. I'm sure you'll agree. We have much more to discuss, dear wife. We'll have to play our parts well if you like to split that woman's fortune, or I could just reveal you as the murderess you are. You decide. Theophan Pictor.
If this letter is true, then Pelina played a role in Uriel's death. And this signature, is this the name of our resident imposter? The residue on that teacup stinks with the same foul smell as the tainted tea we found with Edric's body.
So you wanting me to look at, game?
At first swipe, all those seems genuine, but one mustn't leap blindly. All evidence must be found, and this pot of poisoned tea could be the key. Quickly, let us investigate Lady Weatherly's room for clues.
What? Oh, what am I losing?
This scrap of fabric seems to have been torn from an expensive dress. Mizik would like to hear your thoughts on what we found. This note seems to confirm that Pelena Weatherly had her husband killed while he was away from the estate. Did Lady Weatherly read it first and confront Pelena with the truth? And what is Pelena left to do when cornered?
Pelena poisoned Lady Weatherly.
Indeed. Pelena may have sensed an end to her cozy life. Killing Lady Weatherly before the imposter's arrival would secure her the fortune. She couldn't have known it was hidden, and now she can't reveal the imposter without outing herself.
But Lady Weatherly was found in the library.
A poisoned cup of tea would bring unwanted attention to Lady Weatherly's death. Pelena's only option would have been to stage the scene. A fall from a ladder at the lady's age? Mizik can already imagine the solemn nods of acceptance.
So Polina and the imposter Theophan.
They must have brokered an agreement. Ride out the storm of Lady Weatherly's death and come out the other side rich. But they've stumbled along the way thanks to a curious cook and a meddling Mizik. It's time we confront our killers.
What was happening while we were in this room? Huh?
Mizik heard a scream from down the hall. We must hurry.
He's dead! Someone killed him!
Betu? Betu, what's wrong, boy?
Nobody leaves until Mizik finds out what happened. Traveler, there's something by the body. Quick!
Mezek, my apologies for letting my fear get the best of me. I was afraid telling you the truth would put your life at risk. I thought I could solve everything myself. Before Lady Weatherly's death, I went through Polina's belongings. I'd always suspected she was cruel, but lately she had grown erratic, nervous, always looking over her shoulder. When I searched her room, I discovered her correspondence with Theophan Pictor. She had Uriel killed, and now his assassin is here, wearing Uriel's clothes and a name like a cheap costume. I gave Lady Weatherly's a letter to prove Polina's wrongdoing. I fear that in doing so, I doomed her. When Polina confronted me, she demanded I return her stolen letter. I refused. I told her I had hidden it. She must have sensed my deceit, known that I had revealed her betrayal to Lady Weatherly. I'm sorry, it's all my fault, Edric.
We have to help him. Something has made Betu terribly ill. I've never seen him so scared. If only I knew what was wrong, I could help him.
He was poisoned. We found the same residue in Lady Weatherly's teacup.
Wait. I recognize this smell. Yes, I couldn't place it until now. We used this poison around the estate grounds. We've fallen into such disrepair that beasts have moved into the cellars. Betu knows better than to eat this. He was forced.
Can we help him?
Yes, in the pantry. I kept a tin of medicinal herbs for this very occasion. I could never forgive myself if I had a hand in hurting Betu. Please, hurry! Get the herbs!
Quickly, friend. Search the pantry. Mizik hopes we can save at least one life today.
Betu! He's recovering. The herbs must be working.
Wonderful news. Traveler, let's discuss the note you found with our imposter. Our imposter is dead, and our killer nearly succeeded in taking Betu's life as well. It is also not lost on Mizik as to who is missing from this room. The note you found with imposter Theophan's body. What does it say?
It's a note from Edric. He discovered Polina's involvement with Uriel's murder.
The lengths the cook went to protect Lady Weatherly. This one hopes she knew how dearly she was loved by her staff. There is no doubt left in this one's mind as to who our killer is.
Polina Weatherly.
She must be held accountable for her crimes. She can't have gone far.
Betu? What is it? Where are you going?
Quickly, follow that dog. Good boy, Betu. Her killer may very well have fled through this door. These tunnels seem to run under the entire property. Good thing we have Betu's nose to lead us.
By Mora's many eyes.
Music needs to stop doing that. Apologies. This one is fine.
Definitely not a fighter. Pull over here.
Oh dear. Music is all right. A bit.
Get away from me, you beast!
Music. I hear Helena's voice. She must be nearby. Oh dear. Apologies. This one is fine.
I'm with you, cohort.
Music is all right.
You're gonna have to get yourself together, because there's just gonna be more of this.
Being a bit. Music needs to stop doing that. Music is all right.
Sorry, Betu. I thought there was treasure down there, but there wasn't.
Damn dog! How are you still alive? I've committed no wrong. That man was an imposter. If I hadn't gotten him first, then he would have killed me. I spit on Theophan Pictor's name for masquerading as my dear Uriel.
We know you had Uriel killed.
How could you possibly say that? Whose inane rambling convinced you of such nonsensical drivel? Everyone is out to frame me. Theophan, Otto, even that damned Edric.
It's over, Polina.
Damn this rotting estate. Everything I did, everyone I killed, I did it for my own survival. I hope it crumbles into dust just like that crone and her son. I spit on their graves.
The Count of Skingrad will decide your fate.
Helena, why would you hurt Betu?
Because this whole family can rot for all I care.
You've done great work today, Traveler. The air is heavy with death. But just like the sun, truth will come out. If only Lady Weatherly could see Helena beaten at her own game.
What happens now?
Helena will be delivered to Skingrad. With the evidence in hand, she should face charges for the deaths of Uriel, Lady Weatherly, and our impostor. While it's possible Theophan killed Edric, I am certain she played a role.
What of the missing fortune?
To think this one nearly forgot about our remaining golden thread. Aquilia is the only living relative. Mizik supposes she will inherit the fortune. Not that we found a single coin to give her.
We must have missed something.
Fortune aside, what we accomplished today is no small feat. If the fortune was to be found, we'd have stumbled upon it during our investigation.
What have you got there, boy?
It seems Betu has brought us some. Betu, where did you find this? Betu? Otto, escort Helena back to the manor. We will follow the dog. Apologies. This one is fine. Feeling a bit... apologies. This... Missy can't believe it. Is this Lady Weatherly's missing fortune? Let us investigate.
If you are reading this letter, then Betu trusted you with her hidden fortune. I had hoped that one day I'd pass these treasures on to my son, Uriel. But I learned recently that the woman I cared for like a daughter betrayed me, and so it became necessary to hide the fortune she is clearly so hungry to acquire. I haven't gathered all the proof yet, but I called upon a dear friend who can help bring her crimes to light. If I don't live long enough to see her downfall, let this document serve to make my final wishes clear. My dear dog Betu and the staff that has looked after the both of us while I retreated into my grief are to receive my remaining fortune and the estate. They are what remains of my family, and through them, the memory of my dear Uriel will live on. To Edric and Otho, I thank you for making my grieving a little more comfortable. I hope this fortune helps you look after the great gift my son ever gave me. My dear and faithful Betu. Oh, the niece gets nothing?
Lady Weatherly must have left that note before her death. We should show it to Aquilia.
It's being gardened by a troll. By a troll.
He needs to stop doing that.
Helena, is it true? After everything my aunt did for you.
I don't owe you an explanation, Aquilia.
Otho did his best to explain your findings. But is it really true? Helena is to blame for this nightmare?
Yes, Belina Weatherly was our killer.
I thought she was acting strangely, but I blamed it on the grief. I would never have expected her to be capable of all this. And what of Uriel? What was his role in all this?
He was an imposter. He wanted a cut of the fortune after helping kill Uriel.
I knew something was off about him. But to think he also played a role in killing my cousin. Lady Weatherly gave Helena a comfortable life, looked after her every need. All this death, in the pursuit of an absent fortune.
Actually, we found the missing fortune along with the letter from Lady Weatherly.
Betu was safeguarding the fortune this whole time? It's a strange request, leaving the remaining fortune to Betu and her staff? But I wouldn't dare go against my aunt's wishes. How sweet. Lord Betu of Weatherly.
You have got to be joking. The dog...
I can't believe it. There must be some mistake.
There's no mistake, Otho. I will help oversee the transfer of ownership. You and Betu will have all your needs seen to.
Excellent work, my friend. Let us speak.
Does this mean that Betu needs to have a litter and one of his puppies inherit with the title?
Many lives were lost, despite our best efforts. There is certainly joy to be found in our success, but this one will spend many a night wondering if there was more that could be done. Perhaps he is not as good an investigator as he thought.
Lady Weatherly and her son can rest easy thanks to you.
Do not downplay your role either, friend. You forget, Mizik was a bumbling mess, chasing a sneeze-inducing beast. Betu, until you arrived. You deserve a reward for your work, but know that this one is in your debt. Mizik hopes news of this case strikes fear in the heart of all criminals who think they have gotten away with their crimes. No matter how many years go by, justice is still hunting, and Mizik will find you in the end.
What will you do now?
Mizik will stay for a while as executor of the estate, but he cannot linger long. There are crimes that require his attention, and he must hurry before the trail goes cold.
But we just solved a crime.
Yes, and Mizik could not have done it without you. But resting in the shade of one's success is too long, dulls the claws. We will meet again, friend, and criminals will tremble at the thunder of our boots. Mizik likes saying that part.
Oh, Mizik, I liked you saying it. All right.
I've always preferred cats. But you've made a good argument for dogs, Betu.
Oh,
This one
Betu.
thinks Betu likes you.
Oh, well, you do seem like a very good boy. I'll be sure to order a lifetime supply of steak dinners.
The estate and its fortune are left to Betu and me? I've always thought that Lady Weatherly's generosity was unrivaled, but this... it's almost too much. I assure you, I'll see to all of Betu's needs. We're family, after all.
What will you do now?
I don't even know. How does one run an estate? I'll have to hire staff, of course, then get around to the gardens. It's been ages since I've done a proper pruning. Oh, it's all so much, isn't it? But I'll have Betu. He'll keep me sane.
You really care about Betu, don't you?
Of course I do. Never had a pet or siblings. And I've been tending to rich folks' gardens ever since I could use a pair of shears. It wasn't until this estate that I felt like I could breathe. Be myself. Have friends. Betu's a part of that.
Don't worry. I'll take care of all the remaining paperwork and help get Otho and Betu on their feet. Thank you for everything you've done today. I hope my dear aunt can rest easy now.
What will you do now?
I'll ensure that Otho and Betu are recognized as the estate owners. From there, it's largely up to Otho. I'd imagine he'd want to hire staff and begin tending to the estate grounds again. At the very least, I'll make sure he rests.
And Betu?
It might sound strange, leaving an estate to a dog, but wealth can be funny like that. I once attended a masquerade in Somerset, organized by a pet cat. Everything has paled in comparison since. Betu's a good boy. I'm sure he'll adjust.
How do you feel about this arrangement?
If I'd found out when I first arrived, I may have been a little more concerned. But after seeing the way Otho dotes on Betu, and knowing how much that dog meant to my aunt, I have no qualms. This is what she wanted.
Don't look at me like that. You would have done the same thing in my shoes.
Why did you do it?
The fortune was always my goal. I was happy playing the doting wife, but when Uriel went off to battle, I got greedy. Some old and unsavory acquaintances put me in touch with an assassin, Theophan. I thought I had it all figured out.
But you killed him too.
The fool thought he could show up and demand half the fortune for himself. And the more you and that investigator dug, the more reckless he became. When he threatened to out me and take the entirety of the fortune, I knew I had to kill him.
And now it's Betu who will receive the fortune.
That wretched old woman had one last twist of the knife up her sleeve. I hope she's enjoying this from whatever corner of oblivion she's in. Damned woman never did like me. She was right, but still.
We are done here. I'm gonna pop into town. I'm gonna pop into the main town and do my writs real quick and get them out of the way before I run out of time. Oh, before I do my dailies, I remembered from the quest that we did in the previous episode where we found burnt biscuits, or little biscuits. We were told to head back to town to go to Count Calantius' office, and let's do that real quick.
Count Calantius, Lord Svendelmore of the Burnt Biscuits has been rescued, thanks to the bold efforts of this adventurer. I aided in their task.
Oh, my sweet fuzzy baby, my little Bernie Werney. Who's my good bear? You are? Yes, you are. You there. Let's talk.
It's alright, I respect you. He is a very cute pet.
You performed a great service for Westweald today, traveler. Without Sir Svendelmore of the Burnt Biscuits at my side, Skingrad would fall apart.
Hey, indeed. Hey, there's a mention of a reward.
A reward? Of course. On behalf of Skingrad, take this as your reward. And Legionary Luther must be rewarded too. He deserves a promotion. I'll need to check my budgets. What am I saying? I'm the Count of Skingrad. Of course he gets promoted.
Sergeant! Oh, my. I'm so excited I can barely...
Sergeant Luther? Oh, his injuries are too much for him. Healer, help Sergeant Luther Lentinius recover and take him to the barracks.
I like the fact that the healer is glowing. Taking care of your bear. Congratulations, you are the proud owner of a bear cub. Whether it be brown, black, snow, Sovngarde, or sunback, your new pet should provide years of joy and loyal companionship. Here are some helpful tips in raising and training your new friend. Eating. Bears are omnivores and can eat both plants and meat. After emerging from hibernation, wild bears survive on berries and scavenge winter-killed elk, deer, and other mammals. They like fish, including dried fish. Regardless, it is strongly advised to have a regular source of foodstuffs available. Bears have their own personal preference, so feel free to experiment with various foods to find out what your bear likes. Waste. Bears indeed dispose of their waste in the woods. Bear shit in the woods. Be prepared to have sufficient measures taken, either in an outdoor lifestyle or with the sufficient employees to handle matters. Bears can be housebroken, but this proves to be a chancy operation at best. Patience is advised. Activity. Bears like to engage with other environments, and some owners like to let them roam free in rural settings. Those kept as pets in more civilized areas should have sufficient room to exercise, and should situations permit it, a keeper to tend to their needs. Bears can sprint faster than humans, so keep that in mind when engaging in horseplay. Hibernation. Bears kept in captivity with ample amount of food do not hibernate. However, as a result, they may gain excess weight, which would normally be burned off during their winter sleep. Plan your bear's meals accordingly. Discipline. Bears are by nature curious and inquisitive, and can often be destructive, particularly when food is evolved. Start early when training your bear and let them know when they are breaking the rules. Be firm with your bear, but recognize that it is at heart a wild creature and may not adapt well to being domestic. The older bear cubs are affectionate and cute. As they mature, bears may prove to be harder to handle. Some may be trained as mounts and serve alongside their masters for years, living up to 50 years in captivity, while some prove untrainable and must be returned to the wild. A royal embarrassment, a concerned citizen. Can we be frank, just one citizen to another? Dismayingly obvious that we have left for a royal family here in Bancora is just not going to suffice. Nothing against the late King Aemon, who was a reasonable strong voice from the throne, though it was a shame the way he planned to allow Moneybags Emmerich to get away with giving nominal rulership over the fallen wastes of Baharaj, who's never even been there as far as I know. However, know that Aemon's gone, we're in deeper trouble. Princess Allura acts more like a flighty wood elf than an honest Breton maid, and Prince Adrian, well, you heard about his gambling debts, haven't you? And that he's a little too fond of the old spiced wine. All true from what I've heard. In fact, that story about his half-orc bastard might even be true too, for as far as I know. And as for Queen Arzella, to be charitable, let's just say she isn't playing bowls with a full set of pins. Someone with her thimble on the wrong finger, fishing for mud crabs without a net. You know, waltzing barefoot on oyster shards with a duck egg and a news flute and a 9-pound hammer. Got me? So where does that leave us? Dangerously bereft of strong leadership. That's where. I'm not about to accept another bird brain gift wrapped import from Wayrest, I can tell you. Where, then, can we turn? Personally, I got my eyes looking east towards Cyrodiil. The Emperor is a proven source of strong leaders when we Bretons are in the soup, going all the way back to Empress Hestra. And they worship the proper 8 divines, too. None of your weird tall papas and malakats for me. Thank you very much. The Emperor, think about it. I'm pretty sure you'll agree. This is where the bear sleeps, in front of the fireplace. I love it. Bird and biscuit. Adorable. Wood elf nicknames and bynames. Spend any amount of time among the Bosmer, and you'll notice that they never seem to call each other by their given names. Everyone has some appellation or epitaph that everyone else knows by heart. Can be confusing. Ask where you can find an inn, and you might get an answer along the lines of just past Long Ear's house. Our bird nest is heading that way, she can show you. At first, I thought all these nicknames were simply mere examples of wood elf humor. After all, people who enjoy a good laugh and delight in the play of words naturally coin interesting monikers for their friends and neighbors. But over several visits to Valenwood, I came to realize that there's more to the art of Bosmer nicknames than meets the eye. First off, nicknames are practical. Since most wood elves don't use family names, a nickname helps identify which individual you're referring to. If there are 2 Gildans in the same village, you'll find Gildan the Loud and Gildan the El-Lover, or Gildan the Lucky and Gildan the Skeever-Face, or even Gildan the Tall and Gildan the Small. Frequently reversed, so the taller elf is referred to as the small, to the perpetual amusement of all who know them. Second, there are nicknames and there are bynames. Nicknames are lightly given and lightly used. You can find a Lucky or a Muddyfoot in every wood elf village. Bynames, on the other hand, are marks of renown, or in some cases, infamy. A byname reflects some great deed or rare skill possessed by the bearer of the moniker. In fact, you can refer to a Bosmer by their byname alone, and any wood elf will know exactly who you're talking about. I've heard of a great warrior called Longspear, an archer known as Sharp Arrow, a gifted bard known as Song Thrush, and a beloved brewer called Golden Keg. Lastly, the most important rule of nicknames is this: you can't choose your own nickname. It takes someone respected by the clan, a wise leader, a seasoned warrior, or a gifted storyteller to bestow a name. Be warned, wood elves ridicule anyone who tries to avoid a well-deserved nickname, or elevate themselves by adopting a flattering byname. There's a type of renown no one should aspire to be. Oh, okay. We had This is different. The awful truth about the Green Pact. Few things have shaken me to my core as much as the recent revelations about the so-called Green Pact the Wood Elves follow. This horrendous practice is not peaceful, tree-loving way of life they have convinced us it is. It is cannibalism. Aye, dear reader, it's shocking, but it's true. Everyone knows the Wood Elves don't farm or eat vegetables. So what do they eat instead? Meat. A lot of it. And where do you think that meat comes from? Some Wood Elf apologists say they're hunters, that they keep livestock, but I know the truth. They gorge themselves on the flesh of their fallen foes. Sometimes they even eat each other. After all, why else would the Wood Elves need to become such proficient hunters? Deer and wild boars are not very hard to catch. Men and mere that are the most challenging quarry. And this is also why the Green Pact has such harsh punishments for the tiniest mistakes. Stepping on a flower in the presence of a Wood Elf will see you swiftly tried and trussed for dinner. When foes on the battlefield run short, they will acquire provisions by any means necessary. This monstrous behavior dates back to the earliest myths about the Wood Elves. That's right, they're terrible god. Bless the act of cannibalism among the elves. The perversion of their beliefs runs deeper than the roots they claim to worship. I shudder to think what a family meal in a Wood Elf settlement looks like. I beg you, reader, for your own safety, do not... I just realized a family meal. Where's Grandpa? I beg you, reader, for your own safety, do not approach any forest known to harbor Wood Elf settlements. Stick to familiar dirt paths, cobblestone streets, where their vines do not reach. They are always looking for an easy meal, and lone travelers are particularly tasty. Now, in case I haven't said in a while, you can't always believe what the books tell you either. I mean, just like in real life, a smear campaign can be happening. Go that way? Alright, we'll go this way.